So I just finished watching Surviving R. Kelly, or most of it. And I just want to say I have thought that R. Kelly was a disgusting, vile beast since forever, right? Since I saw the tape of what he did to that girl years ago. So, but, you know, as I kept watching it, the theme was just like, you know, nobody cares about black women. Nobody shows up for black women. And we need to be honest as a community. Who was buying R. Kelly tickets? Who was throwing drawers on the stage for R. Kelly? Who was grabbing R. Kelly's junk on stage? Who was screaming and yelling and begging to be on stage with R. Kelly? Who? I don't see black men on the stage grabbing R. Kelly's junk. Who? Okay? Now, there was a part in the video where the part in the documentary where the father of I think it was Adriel, he was saying that he failed as a man and as a father. And I hate to add insult to injury, but you did. My mother and my father would have never let me go in the care, leave the state with a grown ass man who, especially one who has prior allegations of pedophilia. They would have never, not for the promise of a singing career, not for, you know why? Because I am priceless to them. There was no price on my virginity for them. There was no price on me for them. I was priceless. They would never let me go. And all of y'all, I don't understand. You guys you served your children up like lambs to the slaughter. And now that your lamb's mind has been warped and is adult now, you're screaming for help. The time for help was when these girls were minors. The time for help was before you sent your child to be brainwashed. That was the time for help. We also have to talk about something else. I ran across this interview that R. Kelly's brother did with Tasha K, I think her name is. And he was talking about how him and R. Kelly were sexually abused by their sister, their older sister, a woman. So during this interview, Casey Kelly never refers to his sister as having toxic femininity. We have predators in our community of both genders that we must eradicate. We cannot go around calling masculinity toxic. We have toxic people that must be eradicated. And we have to admit that our boys are being touched in the same numbers as our girls. Every single ex-boyfriend, except for one that I've had first sexual encounter, was with an older woman. I asked the guys that I talked to these questions. I asked them these questions, and every single one of them. And I tell them, you know that's molestation, right? They're not even conscious of how that affects them today, because I would see the results of who they were today, dealing with me. Okay? We have to be honest about that as a people. We have to be honest about that. So I want you to listen to excerpts of the interview and listen to some other things. And let's be honest, people.
This time she was more aggressive with her approach. Robert and Bruce was allowed to go outside, and she told me to sit in the living room, and I couldn't watch TV again. It was something that she said that I did. She asked me a question, and I don't think I answered it correctly, or like she wanted me to answer it, so I was being smart. Mm-hmm. But I probably did approach her like that because of the incident that happened earlier the week before, and I'm sitting there confused and not understanding what is going on. Was she playing? Or was she serious? Who plays like this? Even as a kid, I'm thinking, who would play like this? So this time around, she was more aggressive to the point where she just
take your time.
She took my face, and I'm short at the time, and she brought me into the room from the living room, and she had the robe on again, and she sit on the bed, and she just grabbed my head like this, and she just took my head and put it down by her private part, and
wow.
She told me to lick her private parts. Of course, I didn't know what I was doing.
At 6 years old.
6 years old, and she was like, stick your tongue out, lick it hard, lick it fast.
She's giving you
instructions, and it's just different. I believe it's different with Robert because that's what probably made him the monster that he is today.
Wow. And you think your sister definitely opened that gate?
I believe she opened up Pandora's box, and with that and the different effect that it had on him.
A lot of these boys are molested by women. Look at a lot of these celebrities out here, a lot of these public figures who talk about how they were molested. Comedian D. Ray Davis, he was molested, but they try to make jokes about it. Like he had his first sexual experience, but he got molested at 9 or 10 by 2 women, 2 babysitters. Charlemagne, he talked about how he got molested by a woman. Y'all got we got some predatory men and women in black society. You dig? Antoine Fisher. A lot of people. Hell, R.Kelly. Do you know R.Kelly's sister molested him? When R.Kelly was talking about him and his brother, they got molested, it was his older sister that molested him. That's why that nigga's so fucked up, and that ain't justification now. I ain't justifying that nigga's fucked up shit. Because R.Kelly is fucked up. The shit he does is fucked up. Ain't nobody justifying that, but we see where it comes from. That nigga done picked that shit up from a damn woman in his family, molesting him and doing all types of shit. That's why he's trying to act like a pimp. All the shit that he's doing, because I know a lot of pimps who got molested by women. A lot of pimps that I know got molested by women. Even Iceberg Slim, the legendary Iceberg Slim, if you read his book, he got molested by a woman at a young age. So that made him a hardcore pimp. That made him hard on a woman. So a lot of those niggas, when they get molested by women, they get real hard on women. They get hard on women. They get stomped down gorilla pimpish. And that's what R.Kelly was trying to do, telling them to call me daddy and bitch, you can't leave the room, you can't leave the house. It's like this obsessive desire to control and humiliate women. I'm gonna pee on you. You dig? I think, Richard Pryor too? Did Richard Pryor? There's a lot. That shit goes on a lot, man. That shit goes on a lot. So nobody really wants to have a real conversation.
And I'm going to end this video saying this again. Don't call me no R. Kelly sympathizer, because I'm not. I think he's disgusting and I think he's vile, but I don't think he's the only vile and disgusting one. We have to accept responsibility for the things that we do. Sometimes I forget that the majority of people do not like to accept responsibility when they're wrong. The majority of people like to be wrong and strong. I'm a person that admits my wrongs. For instance, when I made the video saying that the girl was fired and I found out she wasn't fired, I had to then make another video saying that she wasn't fired. I don't have a problem admitting I'm wrong, but a lot of us have a problem admitting our wrongs, and we have to admit our wrongs as parents. We have to admit our wrongs as adults and as women. We can't blame men for everything. Something else that really bothered me about this is that I'm sitting here listening to all of these adults, the background singer, the wife, the this, the that, the that, the this, the that. They're saying, oh, how R. Kelly had people helping him and how R. Kelly had all of these enablers. You were helping him. You didn't call the police. You are an enabler. You are a hypocrite. You need to go to jail too. You saw what was happening. You were involved. Everybody that wasn't a minor that knew about it and that was involved need to go to jail.
Man, we all know the nigga can sing, but what happened to standards? What happened to bare minimum? You a fan of R. Kelly? You want to help R. Kelly? Then get some counseling for R. Kelly. Introduce him to some older women. Hide his camcorder. But don't pretend like the man is a hero.